Up, y'all? It's Mr. 6'8" back at you with a new video. And look, it's this very sad day in social media land, just in all over period. Like, I'm just at loss for words right now because, what has transpired in the last couple of hours, I feel like it's just really senseless. And so I'm quite sure many of you have heard by now, if you haven't already, that TakeOff, which is a member of the group of Migos, has passed away. His life was senseless, just a senseless loss. Life was taken from him very early on. It's something that didn't have to be. Like, it's something that didn't have to be. And I feel like that, we're seeing so much of this happen with our young men, young black men in particular, and especially in the rap community. But sometime between last night and early this morning, I think it happened near, if I'm not mistaken, Polk Road in Houston, Texas, at a bowling alley. From what I understand, he lost his life over a dice game. Now, there's been a whole lot of rumors and stuff going around. Okay, we know how people get on social media and spread. Okay, but as Mr. 6'8", okay, it's my job to just only report what I feel like is factual based on what I've done research on. Okay, so I've been all across social media this morning, and from the things that I've seen, the sources that I've pulled from, I'm just going to read to you a small piece rather, from what somebody took a screenshot of from somebody that was there at the scene. And so I'm going to read it to you and I'm going to give you my thoughts. Okay. So basically, it says somebody wrote here that Quavo was shooting dice, which is Takeoff's cousin. For those of you who don't know who Quavo is Takeoff's cousin. But I'm sorry, not his cousin. It'll be his nephew. I do apologize. But he was shooting dice and he was getting his pockets broke off bad. Then this came from somebody that actually text, I guess, to somebody on what happened that was at the scene. But they said Quavo was shooting dice. He was getting his pockets broke off bad. So dude had an attitude and he tried getting aggressive with the wrong people. Okay, I'm gonna kind of bleep some of the words out for the sake of social media because they will shut you down. But basically, they start getting aggressive. Okay, and I guess the dude that Quavo, had been involved with, pretty much they started kind of getting aggressive with one another, from what I understand. Okay, and at that point, then they said that somebody jumped up, and that's when everybody pretty much at that particular point had bunched up and pretty much like jumped up, started, and then shots started pretty much ringing out, is what I understand. Okay, so so far what we have is that they were shooting dice. Takeoff was with Quavo, okay, and basically it seemed like that something over a money situation transpired, and there was money, I guess, that Quavo, from what I'm reading right here, I don't know whether he lost or whatever the case happened, but as a result, his squad or team around him, those people, along with the other people, jumped up and shots start being fired at that point. Okay. And at this point, somebody from Migos was with Quavo. And whoever was in that camp with Migos that was with Quavo, all of a sudden started just firing off and not really taking into consideration of people that were in the nearby proximity of where shots were going at. And so it was at this particular point that the other people who Quavo and them, I guess, was firing at, or who the other people in Quavo's camp was firing at, they started firing back. And as a result, unfortunately, Takeoff ended up being in a crossfire. Okay. And somebody said that they think that he was actually struck again, but ultimately, it what the generalization of it all is that somebody in Quavo's camp, as a result of a dice game, as a result of people getting aggressive with each other because of, I guess, money that was lost, started getting up and just pretty much firing off without taking into consideration of who was nearby. And that person, as far as who triggered, being somebody in Quavo's camp, alongside with whoever the people that was in Quavo's camp was firing against. So basically, Takeoff was caught up in the crossfire of it all, and as a result, unfortunately, he lost his life. Okay, and so they basically said that, at that particular point, I guess that's where the video picks up to where we see a video. I'm not going to post the video out of respect because of the fact that the video is just too graphic. But we see that Quavo is kind of hunched over Takeoff, and he's in denial, and you see him kind of like start to try to pick him up off the ground. And I guess when reality set in with Quavo is when he started pretty much just like getting up and screaming and yelling for help. And at that particular point, I guess whoever the people that were nearby in the actual circle also realized what was going on, and they also too started yelling for help. And so now it's come down to a thing of where a lot of people are saying that, Takeoff unfortunately lost his life as a result of Quavo's actions, is what's being said in social media. Now, like I said, I'm quite sure as the story develops, you know, what is true, what is not, whatever the narrative is, all of that stuff will be dispelled as time goes by. But it definitely seems like, from what everybody is saying, that it was definitely over something that was a result of Quavo and whoever was in Quavo's camp that was, as far as in proximity at that time. And the sad thing that it is about it is that it really be your own people. Okay. And when I say it be your own people, meaning that, all people of this right here is not always kinfolks. And what I'm saying by that is that if that is the case of where it was somebody in Quavo's camp that pretty much resulted in Takeoff, untimely passing, they had no consideration or no, thought process to get up and just say, we just gonna start, popping off because of the fact that I guess they thought that was, the thing to sit here and do. Because, it's like whenever you are affiliated with, these groups and, the rap, just, the groups rap game as a whole, being in the hood, all of that stuff. It's all about, image. It's all about the whole thing of who you riding with. It's all about, are you really going to be about that life when the time comes to sit here and pop off? But I feel like that there's a way to handle certain situations whenever things go left field. And this was not the time nor the place to do certain things that happened at that particular time that resulted in Takeoff being taken away from us. One being is that who in their right mind just gets up, especially when you have your own family members, the people that you say you ride with, that you ride for, or that is, kin to you, or that may be blood related to you, who in their right mind just gets up and not taking into consideration of the people around them to start just sitting here pretty much firing shots and don't think about the consequences. That to me makes no sense. There's no way in the world that I would sit here and come anywhere and just pop off shots to anyone and think nothing about the people that are around me, making sure that they're not hit. First of all, why would I even have the thought process of even wanting to bring, something to do harm to somebody to a dice game? It's a dice game. And that's what I don't understand, is that I don't know what it is with these dice games, but this is about the third incident that I know for a fact in the last 2.5 some years to where somebody has lost their life as a result of being at a dice game. Now, I don't know what all of these dice games entail because of the fact that I'm not that kind of dude as far as that gets into all of that. That's not my forte. Okay. And I think, the people up above, the man up above, that I wasn't, that's just not my lane. That's not what I sit here and do. But a dice game, to me, when I think about a game, I think about fun, having fun, but to take stuff as serious as because somebody lost money, not saying that this was the case that resulted in Takeoff's passing, but just saying that to have something to happen at what is supposed to be a game where people get together and they just hanging with their homies, chilling and all of that stuff, and now you lose your life so senseless, something that could have been prevented. It just doesn't make sense. And whatever it was that was the disagreement, was it even really worth it? I mean, we got to think about how much the Migos, just Quavo, Offset, Takeoff, them as alone as individuals, how much they are worth individually. Okay. So whatever money may have been lost or gained or whatever the case, it don't even sit here and matter, because I've seen these rappers online done blew all kinds of money. Okay, probably more than what was at the game in a actual club type environment. But how does it go from you're having fun at a game, a dice game, once again, and all of a sudden somebody in your crew, if that is the case, gets up and just say, we're gonna start just popping off because of the fact that I may not have liked what the other person may have seen and said. They may have looked at me the wrong way. They may have seen I felt like was cheating in the game, or somebody may have been mad because of whatever the agreement was, as far as with the money situation that happened, as far as the money that was put down on. Like, none of that matters. Was it really worth it? Whatever the reason was it really worth picking up something that could cause harm to somebody and just using it, so irresponsible, you know? And not taking into consideration of anything of anybody that was around. Now, as a result, here it is, a man has been taken away from us. And it's just like, how many more people, especially in this rap life? I think you all may have seen rapper Designer had got online. His IG is the life of a designer, or the life of designer. Got online and pretty much stated that he, quits the rap game at this point. He was crying and distraught to see a grown man break down and cry like that and become distraught and pretty much say, I'm sick of it. I can't do it no more. I'm tired of seeing my brothers being taken away over something so senseless. That's when you know that the ish got to be real. Okay. That's when you know that it's done got bad. How many more people do we have to lose? We done lost Young Dolph. Okay. We done lost a couple of other rappers. They have, passed on over senseless stuff. Like, how many more times do people have to be taken away from us? And it seems like that when these people that are of a particular circle, being in the rap, whatever you want to call it, our black man, it seems like that every time they're taken away from us, it's always something that has to do with either jealousy, it has to do with a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding and or breakdown in communication. It's always something that could have been prevented. It's always something that did not have to be. It's always something because of whatever the case of somebody pretty much just has resentment, hatred, or envy of someone else. And it's like, how much more stuff has to happen before people wake up and realize that life is short and people are losing their lives. It's more other important things to be having this kind of animosity over, rather than you just getting up and trying to sit here and, I guess, stand your ground, or trying to make a point, or trying to represent your hood and all this other stuff. And now you go here taking lives for nothing. Okay. And even though it's being stated that it was somebody in Quavo's camp that resulted in Takeoff being, as far as taken away from us, but that makes it even worse, because it's just like, how is it that somebody in your own camp is a result of a family member that you thought that you could trust with your life, that you don't build a legacy upon, and it's that person's actions that is being stated that caused what has happened now? And to see Takeoff laying on the ground just so lifeless, and it was just heartbreaking, because it's just like, that man was standing up, just chilling out of all of the Migos. If you notice, one thing I wanted to point out is that out of all of the Migos, the group, the Migos, as far as the people that are actually in that group, if you notice, out of all of them that we see in social media, Takeoff didn't really bother nobody. Takeoff, I think Takeoff was maybe the least person, just from what I've seen. Now, maybe because I'm not on social media like that, but Takeoff was the least person that I seen ever involved in any kind of drama. He was always, they people said that he was always the quiet one, just, kept to himself, did him, and that's it. Like, it was never anything going on with him that we always seen in the social media 24/7, unlike Offset and Quavo. And I'm not saying that that makes Quavo and Offset less of a person than Takeoff, but I'm just saying that how can somebody that just was simply going on about their day, minding their business, just like we seen with Nipsey, same thing. Like, how is it that these people are just losing their lives and it just be over something so senseless? Okay. And it's just like, what needs to happen for people to wake up? Because it's not about as far as what can we do to change it. No, the change has to start with the individuals themselves who keeps the mess going, meaning that whoever these people that are a part of these, groups, and I think groups, quotation marks, you know what I'm talking about, though the change needs to start with those people to wake up and realize that it ain't worth somebody losing your life over something senseless. Things can be worked out. It's called communication for a reason. If there's a disagreement, if somebody don't like somebody, there can be communication outside of just picking up and just completely pop, pop, pop. Why? For what? Okay, for what? For what? So that's all I got to say and say on it. It really broke my heart to see this man lose his life at 28. I'm 33 years old, about to be 34. But to see that somebody just lost their life like this in such a senseless way, y'all just please keep the family, keep everybody in there in your prayers. Even keep Quavo in your prayers, because I'm quite sure that there's going to be a lot of guilt and post-traumatic stress and all kind of other stuff that's going to come down. He's probably going to need physical, mental help of some sort to get past this. So just keep everybody lifted. I'm not here to judge anybody. Like I said, whatever was caused the reason for this man's life to be taken, at the end of the day, whoever caused it, I'm quite sure once again it wasn't worth it. But that's all Mr. 6'8" has for now. Okay, my fun sizers. This has been your afternoon lunch chat with Mr. 6'8", discussing all things of hot topics and just things to encourage you. I hope that you have a great rest of your Tuesday. And just remember, life is too short. That's all I got. Until next time, peace. Bye, YouTube.